Yeah, hello, my mud fossil friends. Here's our channel here, Mr. MBB333. People send me things that he's looking into. He's looking into strange anomalies, the same as we all are, trying to figure it out, and showing some really good stuff. You know, he showed a giant leaf, and he's just showing things and saying, "What do you think?" So, my buddy Pete sent me this morning, and what we were particularly interested in, I got this from, I don't know, 20 people probably, is these patterns out here.
Sort of fibers, but they extend over many, many miles. They're absolutely huge. So it could be a natural...
All right, so what he's talking about is what they're seeing down in Antarctica. As the snow melts, these patterns are showing, and you're seeing these... You see this one weaving between each other and how they're twisting out this way, twisting back this way, and then there's another place where they're going in a different direction. You see, whoops. I want you to see something else when I show this. Here, Pete took my friend here, Pete Lund. He is my mud fossil maestro. Here we go. He's the mud fossil minstrel. If you look at it close, you could see there's a connection here. This is not just something that piled up here accidentally. And I'm going to show you why I feel I'm confident in making these statements. I could be wrong, but let's see. And by the way, I'm going to go into the Baalbek stones as well, and some other stuff that I got in from Scott Willis. And everybody's contributing stuff. Every day I get tons of stuff. So I'm doing the best I can at responding, and I know people are getting upset, oh, you're not talking, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Well, I'm doing the best I can with what I got. Okay, this is from a place called Eukiortho, and it's Strolling Under the Skin. This is Dr. Jean-Claude Gumberto. And fabulous. I'm just going to play it here without any sound, and I'll quote on it, because she's talking about, the fascia and the characteristics of how the blood vessels feed the tissues and so forth. So I'll just keep the sound off, and I'll talk about why it's working in mud fossils. So here goes. Now, what you're looking at is the same sort of stuff. You see the tendons inside there. You see them sliding back and forth inside these sheaths. Every one of them has its own sheath as well. You see they're all outlined, these lines? Well, those lines they give it fluidity, they give it flexibility, they give it nourishment. Now, this is the stuff that we're seeing on that video that Mr. MB333 there showed. Now, these will slide back and forth, but they will eventually set up a pattern, and I'll show you that. Now, this is as they flex. Now, as they become relaxed and the body dies, they will fall into these exact certain patterns, I believe. That's what I find in all the rest of the body. It will relax to its standard relaxed place. Now they're showing how it feeds the, this is the gas and this is the blood and it's feeding the tissues and so forth. But these are the things that slide back and forth, or actually, well, they do. They slide back and forth. They show a compression section, I believe, pretty soon. But these are the things that are in Baalbek. Those are the same stones. That's it. When they harden out, that's calcium, CaCO3. It's one of the connective tissues. I believe it's collagen. One of the collagens, there is actually a combination, I think 2 and 6 or 2 and 4, I can't remember now. But there's like 25 or 26 or even more of that. Now, here we go. Those are different collagens and keratins. Now, these are the different flexible layers. And as that thing dies, each one of these is coating one of those blocks. And they slide back and forth. As it dies, I believe you're going to end up having, let's see if I can catch it at where we might find a pattern that looks similar. Well, anyway, it's just take my word for it. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. But they're going to fall apart, and you can see them chunk, 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 like that. And the same thing that we're seeing. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But I think that's as close as I can get to what's out there. And this is the fascia. See that? That's what they really never understood before. They used to call it fuzz. When I first started with the mud fossils, I found fascia was the divider on everything that's in your body. That's why they come out in chunks. Everything was coming out in chunks. This stuff coats it. Everything that's in your body, this coats every single cell. And then everything organ is coated with this. Every fiber is coated with this. Every muscle, everything is in your body is coated with fascia. And then when you die, the fascia sets up a plane between the organ and the rest of the body, just like it does in life, because it's separating you in life from the rest of your body, the same as it does when you're dead. And this is showing how these fascias slide back and forth. This is the kind of thing that we're seeing here in Mr. MB33, 333 there. And you're seeing the blocks, and then you're seeing these stripes go in between them. That's the only thing I can see. Good morning, it's Roger once again. Today we're talking here from Mud Fossil University. Good contributor Scott Willis over there in Ireland, looking at the landscape and thinking that he's seeing patterns in the huge stones, and I agree. So he's wondering, really what's going on there. What are these patterns? Are they doing molds, or what are they doing with these things? So he sent me other things, fabulous stuff he's finding over there. So this started, this was the first thing he sent me, which is, excuse me, this is, and he's got a good eye for this stuff. Now this looks to me like it is an abrupt transition between where it's, I believe this is like a bone implant, and then the abrupt transition, and then the muscle runs off. And that's the only thing I could think of to say. You say, well, what do you think? So I say, well, this is what I think. And I think it's something like up in this area where the muscle goes, the tendon goes right into the bone, and there's a little tiny piece. It's not necessarily this one, but there's a little tiny piece, like maybe like here, you see, between the bone, and then you have that gluey stuff, and then you get into the flesh. The flesh goes right away. So there are these places that have, you see what I'm talking about there, a little tiny strip. That's the abrupt transition, and that's literally some kind of glue. And he sent me another one that was a tendon ball, had the abrupt. Let me see if I can find it. All right, this is basically the same thing. This is, I believe, some form of a bone or whatever it is, and then this is the abrupt transition glued onto it, and then from here up would have been the muscle. And these are the two. There's like there's abrupt transition, abrupt transition, abrupt transition, and then the muscle goes out. And this is gluey stuff. It's unbelievably hard glue. Holds these things against bones and other tendons and so forth. Absolutely amazing, this glue. I'll show you one that I have here in the shop. All right, this is a video I did on the Baalbek stones. This is the glue between like these layers, these flat layers. They're square. This is the same kind of stone that's at Baalbek. This is the exact same thing. And they didn't cut those. They just fell apart. There's a gluey strip between here, which is a slidey thing that these tendons all move back and forth so they can be flexible in your body. Then it goes into this gluey strip here, which is unbelievably strong. You see, here's some more look at it, and here we go a little further, and I'm showing it in this other old video here that I did, and here's that gluey strip. Now, it goes from here to here, and then the muscle starts. Now, I think I go through this. Let's
Red
see.
stuff, that's blood.
Let me just point this out from here now. I'm pointing now to the blood, and those are the blood spots, those black spots. That's the vein return blood, and the other. Now, right there, boom, see? It goes right there from the abrupt transition right into the flexible muscle, and then it goes out. See, there's the abrupt transition, and there's the flexible muscle. There it is, and then it goes all the way out. There'll be another couple of. There's another abrupt transition here. And then it goes further out. It's all mineralized, and it's all the connective tissues that hold your muscles together. And then, of course, the red fleshy muscle material. And there's all these little red, black spots and holes in it. That is see the little holes? Those are blood vessels. You see, there's another abrupt transition there. There's another abrupt transition there. This is muscle. So, just to regurgitate the whole thing, here we go back to here. That right there is the Baalbek stones. And I go through the whole thing about the Baalbek stones and what they are and what they look like, and there they are right there. That's what this is. That's a Baalbek stone. And that right there, that's where the blood comes out at the very end, and I can show these things leaking from surgery back here. You see that? That's what happens to them. Watch. When they do tendon implant surgery. And then when they do, hold on back here. All right, she's showing that when that stuff coming out of those, that's the tendon, and they're transplanting them. And when they did, they started to discover what these characteristics were, because they're virtually inert in your body, but the blood comes right out the end. It's exactly what happens in the Baalbek stones, only these square off when they harden up. So, okay, so you saw where Scott's saying people are waking up, him and his buddies are going out looking all the time, and they're in Ireland. I guess they're starting to get a lot of responses, and that was the abrupt transition right there, and I believe it was from this particular section right here where the muscle has eroded away, but it makes that abrupt transition right against it, and the muscle would have run up here. Okay, so that's what I believe we're seeing there. Now, so then he sends me this. He says, Slieve Gillian, a mountain in Ireland, is littered with stone. At the summit is a passage tomb said to be that of giant Finn McCool. Well, let me tell you something. Giant's Causeway is Finn McCool. So, Giant's Causeway is a giant. It's not a causeway, it's a giant. And I have the evidence, no question whatsoever. Every bit of it is muscle tissue, tendons, the whole 9 yards. Now, he finds this up on the top of this mountain. Very interesting. Now, you see that? That, to me, certainly looks like some kind of a fabric. Now, I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking it's upside down. So, if this was the guy's neck, and that was his shoulder coming down this way, this is all the picture I've got. And this would have been where his other shoulder came out and hung down, and it's broken off. And they used to wear these togas that wrapped around and all that. I don't know. I'm just looking. I have no idea what it is, to be perfectly honest with you. But it could be a book. I have no idea. But it's layers of something. It could be a bolt of fabric that's just laying there. But I do see some blood colors here and there. And anytime you see lichen and moss in spots, I'm telling you, that's where blood was. You see these? They don't just make spots here and there accidentally. Those were little tiny blood vessel spots. I see this every single time. You know, I see it all the time. I mean, trust me, I see this stuff more than anybody in the entire world has ever seen this stuff. I get scads of this every day. Now, look at this. Now, I don't know if that's a head. I don't know what it is. But I know it's something that has this structure in it. It almost looks... Something's going on there. Let me put it that way. I don't know what. But I see this other part here. Where is it? There's one that shows really good. Not that one. Well, that's not bad. There's something going on with all these things. That's not just rocks that are breaking up this way, and I can prove that in a second. But this, again, all that stuff, that's not bird poop. That's where blood comes out. Where's the one, the best one here? I think it's this one. No. I'll find it, don't worry. There it is right here. All right, now, look at that. You see that? You see these holes here? That's like a shoulder plate or something that's going over his shoulder and it was tied on with something. You could see it. That is not natural. Trust me. I have seen so many stones, so many different things. That is not natural. Now, is that a guy's chest? That's Scott's glove. Is that like half of his chest and it's broken off and that's his shoulder coming out? I have no idea. But I'm going to tell you one thing right now. That could be a knee. I don't know. But this thing here that comes around, it comes around like this. You see the border on it? And you see these holes? You see this breaks in here? These are like little plates. And there's holes in those plates where it was tied on. Or I don't know. You see what I see. And I'm telling you, something's going on here. I don't know what. I don't have enough information to make any certain statements. And you see that? That's not natural. Something's going on. This is either like, I don't know, some kind of book, or I just don't know. I just don't know. But I'm seeing all of these layers of something. And this looks it looks like something coated this guy with a whole batch of different layers of something. And then underneath, because this is biological, underneath here, that's tissue. And these things are growing out of bloody tissues. And I'm seeing a little bit of tissues in here, like it's wetted around it and bled over and, you know, sort of corroded around it. But it certainly looks to me like something was going on. And it even might have been some kind of face shield, and that's the guy's head, and that's his eye. I don't know. I have no real way to say one way or the other. But it's not natural. That is not that's not your normal situation. And the stuff is all over. He says it's everywhere. Now, what it means, not 100% sure. Okay, you can see that everything preserves well in mud and clays and salt water preservation. Now, at some point, this was impacted in mud, deep mud, and it invades and it creates what they call feldspar. And it's the silicon invades the tissues, and silicates invade, and they create platypolar silicates called feldspars. And this is a cap. This is actually a knit cap. And that cap, right under there, you can slide a piece of paper or a playing card right up under there. Now this is crushed in, his head is crushed in here. And there's blood leaking out, as obviously you can see. And this is the black blood. This is the ferritin, which is the iron FeO2 type of blood. And this is the reddish is the arterial FeO3 type of blood, has extra oxygens. Now, this area is cracked in. That's the skull. You see the little ribs in his cap? And you could see when you get it in a microscope and so forth, you could see the knitting and that sleeve going up the side. Now, his nose is crushed in. I don't know whether somebody stepped on it or whatever happened to it, but it's broken over. And, of course, you have the damage and the crack in his skull. And I don't know if you can see the knitting here, but you probably can. You see the little stripes and knitting? If you look, you know, we've looked at it real close, and that's what it is. It's a knit cap. And that's the ribbing of the cap. And the stuff solidifies. It doesn't just rot away. It has to be in certain conditions to do this, and that was the conditions that existed after the flood. So this, and the guy's coughed quite well, you know, did an autopsy on this, and it was CAT scan at the University of Texas in Austin, and he did not a good job at all. It was really terrible, but we could see the cracks in the skull, and there's a knife blade right at the very tip of the top. You can see the pattern of a knife or a sword or whatever it is stuck straight down through the top. Now, that's about all we could get for the detail of the scan they did. We ended up having to go to Jesse Garant, who was absolutely fabulous. Let me show you how he does stuff. All right, this is where Jesse Garant did 7 CAT scans for us. Fabulous. And we had those CAT scans. They're 3D and all this. They got the 3D scanning, color, all kind of stuff. And absolutely amazing. And I had Gil Headley, who is he owns an autopsy school, teaches all around the world, that look at these CAT scans and the actual specimens, and he certified them as what they are. And Jesse did these at no charge, absolutely fabulous, because he knew what we had going on. And this is the kind of equipment he has. This far exceeds anything they have at any of the universities. This is the best place in the world for this. And Jesse, I give him absolute, you know, I mean, this is expensive stuff. This is not, you know, a few dollars to do this. This is quite expensive. They do racing car engines. They do a big industrial equipment. And Jesse saw what I had in the interest of science, understanding. I was paying for this myself. You know, I paid for the CAT scan. You know, I paid for, let me put it this way. Nobody's donated anything, and I don't want anybody to donate anything. So whatever I get done, I have to get somebody to do for me, or I have to pay for it. And he took it on himself to do this. All I had to do was ship it out to him and pay for it to ship back. He did everything else. And the software and all that stuff, gave it to me, no charge. Everything was fabulous. It worked with me, helped me. And I cannot say enough about how wonderful these people were and how absolutely marvelous their abilities were and their equipment. And I just want to thank you, Jesse. I hope you hear this, my friend. Okay, this is myself talking with a fellow named Tom at Helix. Well, he's the owner at Helix Paleo Labs, and he had this results for me here, and I'll just cut in a little piece here and there. Here goes.
This group had success with, and that seemed like the best option, and they, are a mitochondrial DNA primer that will essentially amplify all types of vertebrates, so, not just human, but any kind of vertebrate life form. And so they were sort of a universal type of fit for these samples, because we don't know, obviously, what the samples consist of. So the sequence that came back, and it was roughly, for each of these fragments, about 100 base pairs, matched them up in the database, and they matched with the human mitochondrial. There's two regions of the mitochondria. One is called the D, like the letter D is in dog, the D loop. And then the other one, I believe, is for cytochrome B gene. The mitochondria has several different genes that it consists of, but these primers were specific for those areas of the mitochondrial genome. So, so I, considering where we, started a couple months ago, that's, those are nice results to have.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, we went on talking about this and that. It is what it is. The DNA is there. It's 100% DNA. I have all the samples. I have all the stuff. I had the CAT scans. I have the samples. I have the DNA. It is what it is. It's time to anatomists have everything. So that's all I can say at this point. It's time to address this with some rationale of wanting truth, of wanting to find out if this is silly or this is true. And I'll stand behind everything I'm saying, and everything I have said I can stand behind because I have evidence. Everything that is being presented back to me is where's your PhD? Who told you to say this stuff? Where'd you learn all this stuff? Who do you think you are? That's all I get back. I said, look at my evidence. I don't care if I was 4 years old, and I handed you that. What's the difference? Address what I'm presenting, and I have the chemistry on. I have well, you saw all I have everything. So it's time, my friends. Time to talk to your professors. Time to talk to your parents, your kids, everybody, and say, what you listen to is nonsense. Let's get back to what our real reality is, because it has a lot more effect on your life than just, some curiosity and wasting all your money going to college and learning all things that aren't true. I know you're getting some education out of that. I'm not saying everything's wasted time, but if you're learning what our history was and archaeology and even space and energy and all that stuff, they won't look at any of that stuff either. Just refuse. And I have evidence about that too, and I'll show you that right now. I hadn't intended to get into this, and I won't go deep, but this is a red laser, pulse red laser light. There's only one little tiny spot in the center here. That's how it goes through the air unless you accelerate it, which Einstein says was impossible. Well, I say Einstein was wrong. That is accelerated light. We just saw it before, just floating along here with a nice even wave. Well, look at it now. Not a person on Earth can tell me that has not accelerated. It's being forced through a venturi, which accelerates things. It's not even a mystery. But I've sent this to every place around, MIT and Stanford and all of them, every one of them. And I've talked to these people too. Oh, there could be anything. I don't have time for this. And that's it. So I think we got to make time for this. Mud Fossil University got the information, and nobody will confront it because it destroys the things that they're saying as experts. So, if you want to be an expert, you have to confront what is being said that shows that you may have couple little things wrong. Right? And another thing is, God bless you. That's another thing you guys are getting wrong. Right? Mud Fossil University, come on up, learn about the reality of life, learn about the reality of everything that you're missing. I mentioned that the CAT scans were viewed by Gil Headley, and this is Gil Headley's site. He is an anatomist, does autopsies, and gives classes and instructs around the world. And these are some of his online courses and so forth. Exceptionally talented. A tremendous amount of insights. I worked with him on a bunch of different autopsies. He has a lot of autopsies online. You can go and watch them and see exactly what is inside the human body, how it's constructed, how it's built. All kind of special details he was able to tell me that very few people would ever be aware of. And of course, he was looking at my specimens and saying, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, you're right, you're right. You know, I had some words. He said, well, I wouldn't use that specific word. But, you know, what you're saying is correct, but the word you're using is not right, something like that. And so anyway, he was very, very, very helpful. And Gil, thank you very much, my friend. And by the way, I saw you on public TV talking about fascia and so forth, and that's exactly what we were consulting on originally. And God bless you, my friend. I hope everything works out for you. I'd also like to say thanks to Helix Paleo Labs, the Helix Bio Labs. They did the DNA sequencing, working together with Eaton Bio Labs, I believe in New Jersey, to sequence the DNA and determine what it was. And here I'm going to give you a quick video, a discussion between the lab and myself, 3.5 years ago, when the results were coming in.